Hello, Twitch. Hello, everyone. Excuse the drain.
Anyways, hello. Welcome in, everyone. Now that I've got my mic properly turned on. Hey, you penguin. Good question, penguin. Why don't you Google that one? Hey, Nan Reader. Let's make some coffee. So I didn't put in the dinner command tonight what I was actually planning on doing for my dinner tonight. And that is going to be a potato, sausage, mushroom, and veg hash. Give my paper filter a rinse. So if you recall in the last stream, the camera cut out on me. And so between last stream and this stream, I actually swapped the cameras and reset them, and doing that got it back to working again. Not really sure caused it to shut down before, but they're back to working now, so leaving them be. But they have swapped, so if whatever was causing the issue with this was heat, smoke, oil, etc. from the stove, it's now living a much cooler life. Hey, Bun Buns. First thing, huh? Why am I not hearing that? We'll see if that changes it. Welcome, everyone. So let's make some coffee after getting distracted there. Picked up a bit more coffee, and I've got half and half again. Hey, I did it somewhat right that time. "2.7 hours to microwave my turkey if I go by 9 minutes per pound, like Google says." I know it's not an impossibility. I know, I mean, it's always been sort of a joke, but also something that's a joke because it's also somewhat possible. Well, that's the thing. You can cook parts of a turkey in much less than that. So, does it count if you break down the turkey into parts that can cook in less than 5 minutes? Nice buns. Yeah, it's gonna be trouble for me trying to make bread stuffing and not want to eat any of it, even though I know it's going to be even that more amazing by waiting. You know, they always say stuffing is better the day after. That's the point here tonight. I'm making a couple of days ahead because so it'll be better on Thursday. Really, Penguin. Now, I often do a mix. I'm doing things, I never do things the same. I change things up all the time. I normally use a combination of some sort of crusty bread, but I also use some sort of really soft bread, like dinner rolls or potato bread, and so normally there's that combination. So you get a little bit of that chewy crust in there, but not a lot. Dressing, stuffing, more or less the same thing depending on where you're from. I think what I would do qualifies as a bread stuffing if it was stuffed in a bird, but I'm not going to stuff it in a bird, which is stuffing a bird with food that you intend to eat is generally not the greatest plan. I'm planning on spatchcocking my duck anyways. Cheers, folks. Happy Tuesday to you. Thank you, Nan Reader. 26 months. I haven't been in quite a while, Penguin. It's dying out a little bit. I wasn't seeing any real new faces with it. It's a pretty big disturbance to the stream. So I sort of ditched it, I think. No. Bun buns. Hey, Lexa. I don't know why I started with cutting an onion. There's probably other things I probably should have started with first, but here we are. Cutting all the veggies up for the stuffing rather small. I'm going to turn the oven on to 350. It was easy. Happy to have you, Luxapum. Okay, what should I really get started with first here? bread. That is what I should get started with first. And so as I was starting off saying about with bread for this, I'm going to use potato rolls. Or in this case, potato buns. But that's not going to give me very much of the chewy crust if that's what you're after in your stuffing. There's many different stuffings out there. I mean, I got some good respect for a good cornbread stuffing too. That's some good stuff. And I need a bowl for all of these. Need a bigger bowl than that. Buns always with the bun compliments. Optimally, you want to go a little bit smaller on your dice than this. But since I'm going all softer breads, this is going to all get rather soft, even though the next step is toasting it. I would definitely suggest going smaller if you're working with a sourdough or something with a solid crust to it. And there's a reason that stovetop is the size it is. They've done studies, they've done science. You can, but it'll be different. I'm going to toast mine more along the lines of like croutons. I'm just going to load them up on a hotel pan in there and throw them in there. I'm going to give them a little seasoning before I do so, though. On Thursday, yep, buns. Duck. Quack. Why wouldn't it be okay to ask? I was saying that on stream the other night. That's the only name that I know it properly as a conical strainer. And save this around. It would be lovely for thickening something, but I'm just going to toss that. There's a lot of stuff in kitchens that are called things they probably shouldn't be, especially by more modern day standards. There's that. There's a whole lot of them. I don't want to get in trouble for pointing them out, but there are a lot of them. So, we have our bread here. I am going to use a bit of my last of my spree oil. Bit of salt. Pepper. A bit of onion powder. Roasting pan. Parchment. Bread. And so, since I'm not just looking to only toast this, I'm looking to dry it out a bit. I am not going to do just single layer, single pan. I'm going to do, single layer multi-pan. I'm just doing one heaping pan bread. And oven at 350, like I said before, we'll give that a good 15 minutes to take a look at it. Meanwhile, we'll take our diced onion and put that in the bowl that we had the bread in before. Where's my bench scraper? I actually used an olive oil spray, but a butter spray would use just as fine. I was using a spray because it's best for coating like a whole bunch of loose pieces like that. And I'm trying to use this thing up. I've been trying to use this thing up forever. But other than butter spray, initially I put a nice helping of salt and pepper and a little bit of onion powder. So there are onions in there. Celery. Undo already. Wow. $3.50 right now. If you're rushed, you could easily do 400 and just keep a more constant eye on it. Quit flash. Oh, that's why you're flashing. Yeah, just a couple kinds of stuffing out there. Hopefully that helps it a little bit. I didn't have my cooling block plugged in. Awesome, Bun Buns. Spinach wouldn't be bad. It would tend to add a lot of moisture to it as it cooks. So it's one that you would want to, not a ton of maybe. We got the fan on. Okay, it's just hot. Oh, I don't have my fan on either tonight. I don't know. I wouldn't think there would be a whole lot there to explore. In a certain degree, yeah. I mean, I haven't put hardly any of them in there. But that's something I'll jump around a little bit on. I'm going to use the primary two that I put in mine all the time, which are thyme and parsley. I would also often use sage. I have a sage plant and it's just looking a little sad, and I just don't feel like taking anything more off of it. I am adding a bit more onion to this, though, as you can see. Oh, peel for me already. And then it peels poorly. Not too shabby, Bun Buns. Got back sort of late and didn't quite have everything set up to go here. And so I didn't feel like rushing myself, and so I delayed the stream. That's what happened there, but yeah. I mean, those in the Discord saw dinner last night. Probably a lot of people calling to fix things that they were living with for a while. But all of a sudden they're going to have company, and, you know, they need that second bathroom to work. Hey, the mind is he. Right now I'm cutting up mirepoix for our bread stuffing, our bread and sausage stuffing. So we got celery and sweet onion, and I'm going to add mushroom and carrot to that, along with that last little part of the fennel bulb from when I was doing chicken stock the other night. Going back to herbs, the herbs that you're using in your stuffing should probably more match up to what else is going on with the dinner than worrying about the perfect herbs for the stuffing, I think, almost. But certainly you can pick herbs that don't belong in there that way, but consider what all is in the dinner, not just what you're doing with the one dish. Hey, Cosmic. I'm gonna start searing off some sausages. Carrot. That's what I'm after. I need carrot. I mean, it sort of depends, like, if you're planning out the dinner, like, I'm sitting here thinking also, there's probably a fair number of people that do potluck style dinners for that, even within their own family, sort of a thing. So you may not even know. In that case, I would stay away from anything too potent. I mean, you want it to be flavorful, but you don't want to overwhelm their palates for anything else. You don't want to fill it full of fennel or tarragon or take a look at that bread, make sure it's not getting too dark. Oh, the timer was... We only had another 30 seconds on there, but... We're looking not too shabby here. Got a little nice light golden going on there. Above and beyond just the original crust. The pan's getting warm now too. Let's get our sausages in this pan. With the cameras, I haven't re-angled them properly or anything. garlic, but not a ton. I'm gonna use more onion, like I used onion with the bread than I did garlic, just because it's a little bit lighter. If you want to use shallot instead of garlic, that's a good touch too. I'm using sweet onions for that same sort of area because you don't want hugely potent onion. There's people that hate onion, so. Now, see, I tend to use red onion most of the time. I hear you, sausage. I hear you, sausage. I'm using Italian sausage. You may want to use a mild or even just plain pork, ground pork, because this is going to have a fair amount of fennel in it, most likely. Red onion, I think, are the most potent and most flavorful, but you don't always want that, especially when it comes to, like, I think a fair number of people would actually disagree with you on salads, but when it comes to heavy dressings, I think they're perfectly fine. Oh, they get to your eyes too much? Clockwork? Yeah. They get to my eyes a little bit more nowadays, but for a long time I wore contacts, and contacts did a really nice job of blocking the air to eyes, which meant that the acidity also didn't get to my eyes. So we got our veggies minus the fennel in there now. toothbrush, slice down the front of it because it's starting to brown a little bit. Fresh cut on the bottom. This one a lot of people will probably say no to, just because they don't like the flavor of it, not realizing how well it can do in the background of things. Because I am not a fan of fennel by itself really at all. Maybe in a braised fennel dish where you can greatly change the flavor. A little messy with my cuts there. But I'm not adding a lot in there compared to what we got of the other stuff. Fennel isn't as likely, I mean it will overpower a dish, but it isn't as likely as a lot of other the flames off underneath those sausages now. That's just residual pan heat. So just a little bit of fennel in there. Then we're going to go in a couple of curved balls that I use for my stuffing typically. Garlic and ginger. These are curveballs that, as I was saying before, may not pair well with others, or ginger will work with a lot more stuff than you probably initially think. Just adds a little spice, a little zest in there. I mean, it's not going to affect the dish. Fennel isn't going to affect the dish nearly as much as, say, clove. Back there because it's making so much noise. I was still worried about it even though it's off. Had to remind myself that it's off. Take that little green sprout out of the middle of the garlic. Though I doubt it's really going to matter for this dish. It's not like it's going to be a high heat saute dish. If you want to skip the fennel, skip the fennel. Pull the garlic off to the side here because I'm gonna peel the garlic or peel the ginger. Making sure to cut through the ginger here, since, as I've said many times before, it's very fibrous. And when I say fibrous, I don't know if that breaks down to nutritional fiber or if it's just really sturdy. In this case, I would assume it probably does. Need to get the onions ready here too. You can bring your garlic back on the board. Ginger up there. Shroom time. I rarely do. If they're wild mushrooms, definitely give them a rinse and a proper dry. Just air dry them. It takes a little while. You got to give them a little time to recover, but they do. these aren't from there, but I primarily buy from a local producer, and I know that they're using not bedding hay. Primarily, the only real problem with mushrooms is they grow them primarily on hay, because the straws are ideal for them to grow inside of as a structure. And this is in commercial operations for the more common mushrooms, not. And so if you get cheap ones, or if they're from an unknown or a shady provider, maybe they're taking horse stall hay or bedding hay from other animals, which can have all sorts of stuff in it. Alright, so sausage is cooked. Some of these going in my mouth for dinner tonight, some of these going into the dressing or the stuffing, depending on what you want to call it. I am not stuffing my stuffing in anything. The flame back on the stove there. Yep, you're a little off kilter now. So I'm using that same fat from doing our sausages and everything, so that flavor's going to get throughout everything. But I'm going to start with mushroom, which may actually gobble all of that up. Mushrooms just love oil. In many cases, they actually consume it. I think the cost of doing it is probably not worthwhile or something like that, but back when they had that humongous oil spill, they were showing the ability of oyster mushrooms to essentially eat crude oil and then be a product that you can then is a safe product, even though it sat there and consumed crude oil. I don't know how much I trust that, but yay, nature. I mean, fungus really are the masters of breaking down things and sort of returning them to the norm. Well, fungi are. mushrooms are just fungi fruit. Yay, fungi fruit. I have a t-shirt I used to wear at the farmers markets that you'll probably never see here on stream. Maybe it has been worn on stream, I don't know. It's a picture of morel mushrooms, and it says amateur mycologists have questionable morels. I don't know if that joke comes across or not. Bit of salt with our mushrooms. You can feel free to throw them in there. I thought it was a bit much with this. I don't use the stems a lot. Occasionally. I'm not doing it as much anymore because I'm not making stock as often as I used to. I mean, my business, I was constantly making stock, and so I'm more built into the, okay, we'll save all the stems up and keep them in the refrigerator in a bag and throw them in the next batch of stock. They don't have a bad flavor at all either. I mean, they're great for adding, I use them in stock. It's just, if you just think about the basics of it, they're what's holding the plant up. They're what's holding that mushroom up. And so it's got all of the tough bits. It's the part that if you want to throw it into something, it's going to be more pleasurable if you chop it up a bit more. However, stems are also great for throwing in with your ground meats. They do a great job. I mean, flavor-wise, you may notice them in there, but texture-wise, they're just like you're chewing on a little bit of fat in with there. That's really what the whole... I mean, there's some other stuff in there, but that was the whole controversy over the Taco Bell meat thing. How they have this meat mixture that's less than, I think it was something like 40%, 45% meat or something like that was their meat combination. It's because you can use things like mushrooms and nuts and other fillers that are not too... Oats, grains. That's a big one too, because you can soak the grains, soften them up, and then grind them in with things. I wonder how that would do. You could take some oats and like soak them in chicken stock, and then grind them with chicken, you'd probably have a pretty good product from that. It probably tastes decently, but it obviously adds some gluten to your chicken. That makes a lot of sense, Clockwork. That just reminded me I should roast some potato if I'm going to roast some potatoes for tonight. I think gluten perhaps gets blamed for things that aren't necessarily gluten's problem. That said, there are people with celiac disease and very obvious aversions to it. It's typical for humans. We're horrible about it with food disease in general. In many cases, food poisonings or infections or sicknesses that you have were caused days or even weeks before from something you ate a while ago. There's very few of them that are quick, and you're like, oh, it was what I had last night. But that is the tendency of everyone who gets sick. It was like, oh, it's that from last night. And yeah. Add the rest of our veggies in there. I was the other night, Clockwork. That soup dish I made the other night. That bread, that garlic on the bread, buttered. Oh. And then with soup to sit there and dip it with on top of. Oh. I might as well make use of the same bowl here. Why get something else dirty? If it's a nice olive oil, like so few people olive oil is right there with wine, where you can try a ton of them that are extra virgin that are just meh. You get some that are really good, that are actual good quality, fresh olive oil. Oh. There's a olive oil producer in Napa. There's several in Napa. There's one that I would recommend. One that I'm half going to recommend to you right now is, and they're right in the main food square of Napa, where they have like 10, 15 different oils. All fresh, all you can taste right there. They do olive oil tastings. Now let's do a little garlic and a little paprika. Ginger I want to add because I don't want to get a ton of cook time on it. The garlic I've just been lazy and not put in there. I could have put that in earlier. We do want to get some decent cook time on the garlic, but actually I'm sort of debating whether if I even want to put the ginger in the saute. I'm probably going to towards the end, or at least mix it in toward the end. But I wouldn't, because that's going to get baked again. So it's like going to get cooked again either way. And I'm not going to lose a ton of moisture out of that either. Welcome in, Rude Awakening. We have some mirepoix with fennel and button mushroom or cremini mushroom. And turn the oven back on to 400 just for my potatoes tonight. Just potatoes roasted just about in any way. I just love potatoes. I'm making that noise a lot tonight, but okay, so we got all the veggies going. We got our sausage going. Duck has been chilling over here. I think I want to get the bread stuffing done before I go into the duck, though. I just want to get it all off of the counter and away. So we'll get our potatoes going in the oven. I'll grab a roasting pan, a piece of parchment. of new potatoes over what? New potatoes as a category, the legal definition, they're just young potatoes. And so young potatoes or new potatoes often are a mix of a variety of potatoes. And quite likely were the case where farmers will overplant a field to ensure that they get enough growth, but too much can also strangle their yield, and so they'll cull part of the field, and so you have new baby potatoes. What are we gonna? We'll sell them. Quite often it's because of their size. They're small. I'm not going to worry about the little bit of pepper. I'm going to continue to use this bowl for the stuffing. I'm not going to worry about the little bit of garlic or paprika oil in there. Size does matter when it comes to cooking. You know, after all, the big stuff takes longer. So we have our toasted bread, which is sort of soft, but sort of crispy and crunchy at the same time. No, I was saying that I often do clockwork and would highly recommend that as well if you want to give that a shot. You can do half, you can do quarter, what you want to do with bread. Alright, I'm happy with that. All of our veggies are primarily cooked through. Those carrots can maybe use a little bit longer, but everything else is looking nicely cooked there. And they're going to cook longer in the rest of this. So we'll add all of those in here too. Something with a nice crust to it. Maybe a nice sourdough, or just for the contrast of textures. Maybe just something you got laying around that's got a nice crust to it. Because that crust is not going to stay, well, some of it will stay crusty. Majority of it, you want that chew that you get from your crust. is what we're after with this. If you're going with that. So this is just bread and veggies right now. Oops. If it's not completely solid, I mean, you still want it to be sort of bread. I wouldn't recommend it then, no. Potatoes for dinner going in the oven. And then I'm just going to take 2 of the sausages that I cooked there. So the rest is going towards dinner. Sweet Italian's great. I was saying earlier, it depends on what you're doing. If you want to go with Italian, or if maybe you just want to go with straight pork sausage, a salt and pepper. After all, it has to work with, I mean, if you, Italian, and this is an Italian, but you do have to consider the fennel and the wine. And the heat. I mean, if you got an audience that doesn't want heat, even with sweet Italian, there can be some heat. Oh, I love fennel and sausage. But do you want the fennel in your stuffing? I say that as I have actively put fennel in my stuffing, but not just fennel seed from the sausage, but actual fennel. Sort of wishing I had pulled out the other knife that I could have rocked through this. This knife was very good at sort of slicing things up and down. It's not a type knife. I try to use it like that occasionally, but it's not very functional that way. Exactly. A lot of them are. Because that's how you hide the meat flavor. You know? It used to be sausages were chock full of all sorts of stuff because you got to make your money. But we'll add the sausage in with all of this loveliness too. you want to do any seasonings over the whole thing, this is that point. I'm going to do a bit of salt and pepper over everything even still. If you want to add sage, you can add some sage in there now. I'm going to add some freeze-dried thyme. Oh, we're not quite there at Clockwork. That's going to happen, though. Parsley. Dry thyme, perfectly fine. Especially here because you're going to rehydrate it without a problem. I did use freeze-dried thyme, so there is thyme in here. Alright. Now we take our cooking vessel, which I don't know where I have that stored right now. It's not down there. Oh, lovely. Hi, chat. Nope, it's just not there. It's not there, and it's not there. Where are you? I didn't set a timer on my potatoes. Maybe you're up here? Nope. Where did I hide you? Where did you go, my casserole pan? You know what? I'm not going to sweat it. But I have a casserole dish that I normally use for this with a nice glass top. I'm gonna have to wrap this in foil because I'm not using that. If you want to put some sort of crust or top on it, you're welcome to at this point. I don't do that. And now we're going to add some stock. I mean, you don't want it swimming, but you do want to saturate everything nicely. That was about a cup and a half. Cup and a half, 2 cups. I would think so, clockwork. Clockwork. I'm not 100% sure on brownie. I'm thinking typical 9x9 or 8x8 dish, which will work nicely. 9x13 will work, or I mean, just something that sort of fits what you got there. I don't really have a set recipe. If you can see, if you paid attention, this worked out pretty well for this. But it was half me looking how much I had and what I could use to do it. The 9x13 is going to end up being a bit thinner. You may want to, think about that when adding the stock. You may want to go a little bit thinner with that so that it gets a little bit better distribution. And you're going to have a lot more crust, if that's what you're after. If you want a nice, soggy, soft side, or you want a crispy, or you want the combo. So let's do our... Do I want to do both? I'm going to do both. I'm going to do both plastic wrap and foil on this. And still bake it. But I'm not going to go insane temps on it. Certainly. I've used it for steaming for all sorts of things. Dioxins, which are one of the major concerns in health when it comes to plastic, they talk about. You can extract them in cold temperatures, but generally when it comes to hotter temperatures, you want to go under 170, and that's Fahrenheit. And so, and that's the temperature of that. It's not, I mean, not the temperature of the oven. Hey, who farted? Like the name. I don't think you're the first to come in here, though. Or maybe you've returned. I'd still do it in an oven. But it's going to be hot holding temperature. You don't need to really... Beyond this point, it's cooking it until it's nice and cooked through. Everything that's in this at this point, I've already cooked. It's already done. It's so everything in here, food-wise, is safe to eat as it is. Cooking time, you just want to cook out a good amount of that liquid, or at least turn it into steam, so it all gets absorbed nicely, or disappears. And I'm gonna do 350 for 40-ish minutes, but that's gonna be the different size you have, the different oven you have, because ovens don't keep temperature nearly as accurately as they say. So I don't want to give you a specific time and temperature and have it be completely off, because there's too many variables there. You want it warmed up, and you want it... I mean, you can cook it until there's like a nice crust on the outside of it if you want to. Yep, you can reheat it on turkey day, and that way it's just ready. You just got to throw it in the oven. Everything else you can worry about other stuff. This just got to cook. It's done. Okay. Next project. You know what? I just realized I didn't save any veggies for me for my dinner tonight. I was supposed to save some of the mushroom, onion. I was supposed to save some of the veggies for my hash. My hash isn't going to be much of a hash tonight. I appreciate the offer, Evangeline, but I'm not going to stray too far from this, because this is stuffing to me. There's a bit of that that's nostalgic to me too. Duck. Maybe I'll just go... Yeah. We'll ditch the rest of it and we'll just go with the next. That'll be good. Duck time. Let's hope that this is defrosted. I have a feeling it might not be entirely. Cut that metal hog tie in the center of that. Holding the plastic bag together. There we go. That bag just does not want to come off. Awesome. What's in their orange sauce? No ingredients. No ingredients. I ain't using their orange sauce. Nice. And I look down and I see the pan that I normally use for it. Of course. So yeah, this is still a little frozen-y. That's not what I wanted for this tonight. Yeah, the neck is still frozen in there. Okay, so, but I can still do my intended prep for this for tonight. And I'm gonna do a semi-dry brine. And my definition of a semi-dry brine is that it's somewhat of a wet brine, but it's not going to be dunked and sitting in this. It's going to be open air like you would be with a dry brine. And so I'm going to be doing a combination of soy, salt, and mustard over it with a little bit of onion powder. So, since heavy on the salt, I agree with Kenji Lopez Alt, who actually had a decent article I posted in the Discord from New York Times. He's advocating mayonnaise. I'm sort of mayonnaise. But the whole dry brining, I agree with that with the bird. I think wet brining, a lot of things outside of really heavy, meaty objects like pastrami have a tendency to add moisture, but it's not really the moisture you want. Like, it tastes sort of like washed out to me. Pause for sirens. I used to get a lot more sirens here. It's rare that I get sirens these days, but there used to be a emergency urgent care space here nearby years ago. And I don't know if you would hear them because there are people going to it or coming from it. Alright, so keeping things pretty simple there. Especially since I haven't completely decided how I'm going to do the final seasoning on this. How I want to finish this. And then we're just painting. Painting, 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 painting. Gotta get that salt on there too. Hey, Trigger. Happy Tuesday to you. Hopefully life is treating you well. Not too shabby. Not too shabby. Been a pretty good week so far. Just in time for it to get crazy for the holiday. You're in the US, aren't you, Trigger? I think you're in the US. Apologize if I don't remember anyone's details. I mean, it's a little like the whole teacher and student thing where there's so many of you to remember. You're all amazing, though. Alright, so we got our bird ready to go for Thursday. I was, and I'm going to do this on Thursday. I was going to blanch the skin tonight. I'm going to do that before I put it in the oven. but it's also something you can do now. I chose not to do that because it's frozen in the inside and the center of this still. But my original plan was to pour some boiling hot water over this, which I will do after it's been sitting in the fridge for 2 days now, because we wanted to rinse off. We want to rinse this salt off before we roast it, anyways. This is just curing essentially. But the original plan, if this was fully defrosted in time, was to both poach the skin by taking water from my kettle and just pouring it over the top. I mean, it's going to lose its temperature fast enough that it's not going to do any serious cooking, but it is going to tighten up that skin, which we want for our roast. This is duck, by the way. Don't do this for turkey. And that's great for duck, not great for turkey. And I was also going to score the fat on the top so that it roasts down a bit better. Do a crosshatch on that. Again, because it's frozen, I went just straight to doing the cure. And this, board and all, is just going to go in my fridge. Nope, I'm going with duck this year, Trigger. I like duck a lot. I try to find excuses to cook it more than I do. It is pricey. I think it's actually probably, especially after my visit to the South this year and learning the origins of the brown derby and what turkey was in relation to other things at the time, I sort of feel like duck is maybe a little bit more fitting for today, considering its price point compared to turkey. There's also sorts of things that I could have tried for doing tonight. I considered doing capons. Capons are just smaller chickens, so it's like almost want to do like 2 of them or 3 of them. So we got our bread stuffing, we got our duck. I'm gonna do sweet potatoes. I'm gonna do squash. I'm gonna do mashed potatoes. I don't know what I'm gonna do for gravy with the mashed potatoes. What I want to do with that. Turducken is right there with bacon weave. It was one of those amazing for YouTube memes that went all over the place. But I wouldn't think that it would turn out very well in most cases. Maybe if you find someone that's done it a bunch of times. But the people doing it the first time, it's never going to be. One of them's going to be dried out. One of them's going to be overdone. I mean, if you go turducken completely boneless, maybe. But they've taken that and gone wild with that meme too, and now they've had all sorts of really ridiculous roasts, like let's stuff things in a cow type, like turduckens. Let's put a chicken and a turkey and a pig and a lamb in a, actually probably the lamb inside of the pig. We'll start with, a sardine in the center and work our way out with bigger animals. What else am I going to get done tonight? I don't know how much I want to get done tonight. we got our duck done. We got my bread stuffing done. I think I'm comfortable with where I'm sitting for all of the dinner tomorrow, or Thursday. I was considering doing a third dish tonight, but I don't know that I got the energy to turn that out tonight. We've already been streaming for over 2 hours. I am planning for dessert for my... Oh, that's what I can do. That's what I can do here quick. Probably one of the more rare substances on Earth right now. Tomorrow night, or Thursday night, is going to be roast duck. It's going to be bread stuffing. Delicata squash. Sweet potato of some form. I haven't decided what I want to do as far as sweet potato. And apple cobbler, which was the thing that I was thinking of doing, cooking tonight ahead of time. Or cobbler's probably wrong. Well, apple crisp. But I'm gonna put some oats in there. I'm gonna put. It's not gonna be just And what I'm working on now is ice cream. Make ice cream using my new machine here, but I'm not going to finish it tonight. I'm just going to prep it tonight. If chat reminds me on Thanksgiving, I might show you how it works. Quiet, timer. Quiet. The timer is like twice as worse for me because I have the monitor in my ear. So everything that's being played on the stream is being repeated in my ear. And so that alarm goes off twice as much for me as it does for you. Roasted taters. Looking lovely. That was one. Two. No, thank you, Bun Buns. So it does remind me that I have cinnamon rolls. One of them may be tainted with durian. Eek. It's taken me quite a while to get used to it, felines. Quite a while to be able to ignore it and just continue talking. I'm sure if you look at my earlier streams when I first got it going with that, and I probably did a lot of breaking for listening what I was saying, you know, listen to myself and then continue. And so I'm using my biscuit cutter or dough cutter because This is supposed to be done with room temperature cream cheese. But we're just incorporating all that sugar in with our cream cheese. And yes, I did say that I'm making ice cream. Oh, this is going to be a vanilla base that we can do with a whole bunch of different things with. I'm thinking one of them's probably going to have to be bourbon. Alright, I think we're going to retire this now for this project. We just wanted to get that all nicely combined. Heavy cream, which seems to be in short supply for me. Like, I couldn't find any of the stuff that I wanted as far as cream. People be buying all of those up right now. Oh. Alfredo. Garlicky bechamel. Eggs, huh? Eggs are in good supply here. Now incorporating the cream cheese into the heavy cream. And then I need to get this out. I was taught to do it with a cornstarch slurry anyways in a restaurant. And then this should be about right here. With 3 of these. Then we got our containers. Ouchies. That was a little short. Trying to do this recipe from memory, and obviously I've messed it up here. Not messed it up in the sense that I don't think it's going to turn out alright, I just shorted it myself. So one of these we're going to do vanilla, one of these we're going to do bourbon, the other one we're going to do cinnamon. Still out. And then for the non-bourbon ones, we'll do another 1/4 cup. And then bourbon we'll do 1/8 of a cup. Nope. Cinnamon, not cumin. Cinnamon. There we go. Cinnamon. I'm not worried about it being not entirely absorbed in. We just want it somewhat well distributed. Because this is going to go through and cut it through. If you notice, there was still some cream cheese lumps in there too that I'm living with. Our bourbon one, we're going to add some bourbon to. But I left a little space for a little extra bourbon. That's is that actually going to freeze levels of bourbon? And yeah, it has gotten, well, the real stuff has always been pricey, but yeah. A lot of stuff from Europe getting pricey these days. And the last one we're going to do, just plain vanilla with. Alright, so we got 3 types of ice cream for Thanksgiving, possibly, or in the near future. Just pop these in the freezer, wait until they're solid frozen, and then throw them into the creamy What bourbon you drinking tonight? What you sipping on? What you sniffing on? But speaking of that, I'm a little tempted to join in. Just the regular stuff. Not the double oaked, not the rye. I enjoy a rye every now and then, but I don't know if I really want to buy a bottle of rye or leave it as a drink that I maybe get when I'm out, because I enjoy it more once in a while rather than, this is just tasty. Red Stag, huh? I don't think I've had Red Stag. That's the one with the giant stag on it, right? Woodford is solid. I think it's perhaps ever so slightly at its price point, but it is solid, it is tasty. I enjoy it. I went with Woodford this time because I've recently had several others that I normally go to, and I didn't want to repeat. It's like a black cherry bourbon. Okay. I can sort of see cherry. I don't know if I've ever drank bourbon and been like, oh yeah, that's got a bit of a cherry flavor to it, but it's right there in the neighborhood. Absolutely felines. I mean, it boggles my mind, and I don't understand why they go for it. But the whole idea behind vodka being, I mean, I know the origins of vodka are much more, you know, we have potatoes and we need alcohol. Um, but the whole mentality of making vodka a drink that tastes like nothing, it essentially should be like drinking water. It should have no flavor at all to it. That's been thrown out of the window here now in more recent years, and now that we got like candy flavored vodka, but plain vodka, straight vodka is supposed to taste like nothing at all. Nice clockwork. Which it's sort of funny. My favorite vodka, which I never really buy because I don't want to, is I can't even remember the name of it. Uh, I remember it as P Diddy's vodka. It's a grape-based vodka, so there is an ever so light grape flavor to it. And of the vodkas that are supposed to taste like nothing, I have no idea what he calls himself these days. He changes his name like every week. Tito's is huge right now. Now Tito's, I think, of the gallon jug. But all of the drink that's in right now, at least according to the articles that I'm reading, is all mezcal or tequila, which is, it's sort of like bourbon and whiskey. Bourbon is a whiskey, but not all whiskey is bourbon. Tequila is a mezcal, but not all mezcal is bourbon or tequila. Nice. I haven't had this. I have not done a ton of exploring in tequila land. I'm gonna throw these sausages in the still somewhat warm oven just to heat them back up a little bit for dinner. Actually, I'll turn the oven on to warm up a little bit. I thought I had another one. So we'll skip that. I'm not doing a green veggie tonight, Dances. I'm being bad. The original plan was to do a hash. I was planning on taking some of the veggies that all went into the bread stuffing. I was supposed to take like a handful of those and toss them in with the rest of this, and I went and spaced on that. So we're doing sausage potatoes, and I'm gonna throw an egg over the top. Because I don't feel like cooking extra onion or carrot, which is just about all I've got around to spare right now. This one's in, at least today prices, it's a $40 bottle. If you're looking for a nice bourbon, that's a nice bourbon. A bit cheaper than that, I would go with Four Roses. Maybe a couple bucks cheaper, Buffalo Trace. Buffalo Trace is a little bit harsher than this, though. Yeah, part of the problem trigger is when you get down from 40 to maybe even 80, there's a lot of variation in the offerings depending on where you are. Different states get different allocations, different depending on where you are. You can even have different counties have different allocations and silliness like that when it comes to alcohol. And so the prices greatly vary. It's like the Scotch video that I played in Discord the other night. They were sitting there and complaining how you can go to New York and buy a bottle of Scotch for 40% of the price that it costs to buy in Scotland because of taxes. This is a nice one. Buffalo Trace is a decent lower end generic. Buffalo Trace does a lot of the really nice names in bourbon. Like, they do Blanton's, they do forgetting the big one that everyone goes after. But they're all based off of that same bourbon. It's just they're Buffalo Traces, they're straight normal bourbon, and the barrels that are awesome get better labels. That's somewhat true, Clockwork. Once you find the ones that you like that don't have the burn, that are smooth to you, that work with you, it's sort of tough to go back because you sort of try some of those cheaper ones that are using even flavorings and stuff like that. Definitely colorings. And, well, it's not the burn. That flavor that you get, that barrel flavor that you get with the cheaper, at least to me in my experience, the cheaper ones, it's a little bit more like tasting something that tastes like it was just poured over a freshly burnt piece of wood. It's so much harsher in the type of burn that it has. Just like after drinking Blanton's and going through a bottle of Blanton's, Buffalo Trace, which I thought was a perfectly acceptable smooth bourbon, is much rougher. So I'm gonna call those sausages warmed up, even if they aren't yet. You can get one like I have, the little smoke gun, for like $40. But I would not. No. That's adding smoke to cocktails. That's sort of a. I view that as a bar like showmanship thing. I much prefer a controlled smoke of a proper industrial production compared to some dude throwing smoke over a glass. Hey Ozzy, welcome in. I don't know if I believe that about hangovers. Like I said with Buffalo Trace, and this is the case for many of the premium bourbons, is there's a lower class, and they're just okay. This one's a little bit better than that one. We can blend this one with that one. I've always had hangovers to some degree. When I was younger, I could just sleep in, sleep through them, or power through them. But I hit about 30, and they became like, if I was drinking seriously, I had to plan for a day of pain. And that's sort of where I am now. A couple drinks in the evening and I'm fine. But if I do any serious drinking, if I'm getting drunk, I'm going to feel it the next day. It's not going to be fun. What are banana bags? They make me think they're probably a potassium. Other than maybe just the hanging IV bags. Electrolytes and saline. Which is most drunk people. I mean, there's more to it, but at least for recovery, they need. That's big for hangovers too, but that's sort of something I learned after I was 30 was hydration while drinking. You know, I wonder if it was because I was younger, I used to drink a lot more like mixed drinks, like rum and coke. Like I drank a lot of rum and coke when I was a young drinker. And I wonder if all of the soda and all the drink there compared to now where I'm much more likely to get a proper mixed drink or a harder alcohol. If that cushioned my hangovers when I was younger. I think adding water in is a lot harder if you're drinking beer than if you drink wine or a mixed drink. It just doesn't really mix. Then again, if you're drinking American draft beer, or American beer, it's a little like drinking water. Bit of salt on the egg. Pepper. Turn the heat down a bit. I like diluting high proof whiskeys a little bit to try them to see where the flavor is. It's a good thing to do if you're trying a new whiskey. Try it with a little bit of water. Like, not all whiskeys work well with water. Some of them do wonders. I'm not a big fan of ice. Or I even have a cooling block so that you can cool it down without diluting it. Cooling just kills flavors. It kills aromas too. And so it really kills the smell of things. It really kills the flavor of things. And so, not a big fan of ice. Okay with water, especially depending on what we're drinking. Take our crispy roasted potatoes, throw those over the top of our sausage. I don't mind an old-fashioned on a giant. I typically like a large block of ice when it comes to that. Science of ice. Basic, more surface area, going to cool down quicker, going to melt less, or rather faster. And so you have a whole bunch of small ice. It's going to melt quicker, and it's not going to cool down your drink as much. You get a nice, giant, solid block of ice. That's why all the cocktail places have giant cubes of ice, is they'll cool down, well, that and they fill up a glass really nicely, but they'll cool down a glass much more efficiently and dilute it much less. And so that goes true with all drinks. Like, I know people that absolutely love, like, that small little, like, nugget ice. And if you're absolutely, drained out and dehydrated, sure, maybe it's awesome, but keep that out of my drink. Large ball bearing. Make sure you clean it well, get all the oils off of it. Whatever oils were used to create it. Or you can buy one of the ones like this. Like, this was sort of the original claim to fame. If you're familiar with Booker and Dax, you know they don't do anything cheap. But this is essentially a silicone-coated rock that will help cool down something. And so with this, we'll just hit this with a little bit of hot sauce. A little yellow mustard. Just a little drizzle. And that's tonight's simple dinner. Like I said, I had planned to have veggies in that. I would have been much healthier. I hope you all enjoyed hanging out with me tonight. I enjoyed hanging out with all of you. I hope to see you all come back and join me for my Thanksgiving dinner. I understand if you're going to be busy. It's typically a slow streaming night in the Twitch world from my past experience. but I'm gonna be doing duck. I'm gonna be doing. I've laid it all out for you in the past. I've got a good set of things. There's still some things I'm deciding on, but I hope you come back to join me to see me wrap it all up. Until then, I hope you all have a great evening. You had something lovely for yourself to eat for dinner tonight. And hope to see you back soon. Good night.